Hey everybody, today we're going to do how to pray the Rosary at a funeral. You know, sometimes at a funeral there might be a mixed crowd. There might be some people that might not understand if you pull the rosary beads out and start praying the Rosary in front of them. So there is this way of praying the Rosary at the funeral, which in which you still get to pray it, but you probably won't run the risk of maybe setting some of the people off around you. You know, of course, there's no embarrassment in praying the Rosary, but you know, each situation is unique, and there may be a time that you may want to pray it at a Rosary, at a wake, or even if it's not at a funeral or at a wake, or even if it's like a non-Catholic funeral, you know, you're still thinking about the person, and if you pull those out and the people, might not understand it. So this cool way of how to pray the Rosary at a funeral doesn't use beads at all. Instead, it's a way of praying the Rosary on the fingers and landmarks of the hands without beads. And I'm going to give you a really concise explanation and demonstration of how to do it. So to begin, the left hand is the decades hand. And so when we begin, we have the thumb in this position. And this is where you pray the beginning part and also the first decade. And my hands do shake a bit, so if they're shaken, just bear with me. So this is where the first decade is prayed. The second decade position, right here. The third decade position, and the fourth decade position. And then the fifth one returns to the original location. So the first and the fifth are both prayed in this place. And then the counting hand is the right hand. So we do the Apostles' Creed right here, and then the Our Father. Man, don't shake. The Our Father, and then we do 3 Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3. The Glory Be, the Oh My Jesus. And now we're ready to do the first decade. So you remember that this left decade's hand has been here, and it will stay in this position for the first decade. So it doesn't change. And so on the right counting hand, we pray the Our Father. And first we do the mystery, right? The first mystery, and then the Our Father. And now we're going to do the 10 Hail Marys. So they'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then the Glory Be and the Oh My Jesus. And now we'll begin the second decade. So the second decade position is here. And we move the left hand to this second position at the same time that we move the right thumb from this position to the position for the second mystery for the second decade. So we do the second mystery, then we do the Our Father, and then we do 10 Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Glory Be, the Oh My Jesus, and now we'll do the third decade. See that? And we move this one to this place at the same time that on the right counting hand, the thumb arrives here for the third mystery, and then the Our Father. And I'm just holding my hands up so you can see it. Usually the hands will be resting comfortably. But anyhow, so and if suppose I've forgotten which decade we're doing, right? I just look at this. Oh, that's the position for the third one. So we're doing the third decade. So we've just done the third mystery, the Our Father, and now we're going to do 10 Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Glory Be, the Oh My Jesus. And now we're going to do the fourth decade. Right there. So this arrives on the left hand at the same time that the right thumb arrives here for the fourth mystery and for the Our Father, and then 10 Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Glory be, O my Jesus. And then the fifth decade, returning to the original place on the left decade's hand. And then on the right counting hand, we'll do the mystery, the fifth mystery, in this position, and the Our Father, and then 10 Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Glory Be, the Oh My Jesus. And now for the Hail Holy Queen and the final prayer, we just keep the left decade's hand as it is. And when we do Hail Holy Queen, we just bring the thumb. We can either bring it all the way to there if you'd like, or what I like to do is bring it to this place for the Hail Holy Queen, almost considering this place as if it's like a medallion, you know. So praying the Hail Holy Queen here, and then in this place is where we do the final prayer, Eternal Father, whose only begotten Son, by his life, death, and resurrection, you know, that entire prayer. And now this is something cool that I want to show you. So you can see that there's a line here, like a crease, right? And the plane of the thumb crosses that to hold this beginning position. And to me, that's reminiscent of a cross. Sure, it's not really squared up a whole lot. I mean, you could try to force it around, but so as to make a perfect square. But that no, you don't do that, because actually it's supposed to be comfortable and relaxed. But just consider that this can be reminiscent of a cross. And then here's something else that's really cool too. So when we do the 10 Hail Marys, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we get to the seventh one, what's cool about this is, if you remember the 7 days of creation, you know, 7 represents the number of completion, or it could represent the number of completion. And the cool thing is that this is the starting place and the finishing place at the end of the Rosary. So what I think is really cool is it makes me think of as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. Or maybe the idea of the Alpha and the Omega. Sure, you know, when I developed this method of praying on the fingers of the hands without rosary beads, there are many potential sampling places that could have been selected to start this prayer. In fact, I do have another version of it on my website called PrestonFlatt.com. So a person, if they wanted to, they could pray in different places. For example, on the counting hand, the decade hand, they could, if they wanted to, go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I chose this method because it emphasized the importance of holding to the center. So we start at the center and finish at the center. And doing it this way, it allows all the Our Fathers to be prayed in the same place, which I think is really cool. And so that's a pretty simple way to pray the Rosary at a funeral. Or, you know what, man, you might have maybe a child that's in the military or at school or something, or just somebody that maybe their work is super boring and they're just thinking, man, I just wish I didn't have to waste my time just sitting here. I mean, I wish I could just pull out the rosary beads and just, do some devotional praying of the rosary. But they just know that if they do, there's some chance their superior officer or their supervisor at work or somebody at school might not understand, and they might say, man, you're slacking off. Look alive. So instead of doing something meaningful like praying the rosary, you get to just sit there and daydream, because it makes them feel better. But this is a really cool thing because it makes it so you can pray the rosary not just at funerals and wakes, but pretty much any time throughout the day, and just a variety of circumstances and situations. And the thing is, there are no beads to hide, and so you can pray basically right under their noses without being limited. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then the other really cool thing about praying in this way is I like to think of that verse called that says, where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them, right? So commonly in practice, what you do is you wait around for a couple of believers to get together, and then, worshiping together, God is in the midst, But this is a way, I like to think of it as a mystical way, to basically use the human body in worship. You use the frame of the human body to establish the equivalent of an old-fashioned scale or yoke, or even a mystical cross, And what you do is, instead of waiting for two or more believers to gather together, you gather one point on one side of the body, one on the other side of the body, and then in devotion you just rest between the sampled points without leaning onto your own understanding, So that's pretty cool. There's this verse that says, where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. So sometimes when I hear the word I or me, I don't think of it in like an arrogant way, but in the idea that the kingdom of God is within you, Because there is that verse that says, it's not low here or low there, but it is within you. And so this is a pretty cool way to gather 2 points, and I wrote about how to do that on my website. But then you can gather 2 more in the samplings of these rosary positions, and these rosary hand positions represent just all kinds of just the changes that occur around you in the world, because there are a variety of hand positions, right? But through all the samplings, no matter what the external appearance or the apparent difference, there is a place between the sampled points which is steady. And that's the place that you abide in when you pray in this way. And so as you pray without leaning, that's the practice. And the world around you continually presents itself in ever new ways and combinations. And with each new presentation, comes an invitation to either hold to the one good thing or to go out into the world toiling and spinning. And so this is a way to actively practice steadiness in the midst of a changing world while having it done in a devotional way. And even the verse, lovest thou me more than these, you'll have all these invitations to bail, to not abide, to not hold steady in devotion. But each one is an opportunity to say, I do love this indwelling place of God's presence within me more than these outer invitations to go outward. So it's kind of long-winded, but I'd invite you, if you will, maybe think of who might benefit by having access to a rosary anytime, any place. Maybe somebody in the military. It's always good to be prepared. What if they were in a situation where they didn't have access to a rosary? Or if they had one, they could be, severely punished. Well, just teach them this. And then it's a way, they learn it. You learn it now, and then you'll always have it. So thanks for bearing with me on this kind of long-winded video. But if you would be so kind as to subscribe and like my video, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.